Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully very well. Roku and Netflix, yes, sir. Only, not necessarily, but two stocks that I think are worth watching today. There might be more, but haven't really jumped around too much. Just kind of doing a quick overview this morning. We'll obviously look at more stocks than just that today, but definitely two stocks that are worth watching today, Netflix and Roku. So good morning to everybody. So we'll kick it off. For those of you that are joining with us right now, we'll get started. I'm just going to come out and say it. Watch Roku short today, tomorrow, next couple days. The short isn't going to be very easy today, but it's worth to get your mind started on that direction. We've had a solid bounce day, consolidation, another bounce, solid squeeze. So we've had 3 consistent days of squeezing. Now the price of the stock has reached back up towards its all-time high, which means it's entered back into, or very close to entering into, the sell zone again. So you had solid up. Now it's time to be thinking down. So right now you're probably going to want to start getting short on some of the tops of these moves, just for basically a retrace back to the downside. Today I think we still push up a little bit, but I think it's going to get pushed back in a little too. So again, Roku, probably start following short bias. Nope, I wouldn't. Well, maybe not. I'll take a look on a different screen. PEP, I mean, maybe if it starts to trend well and looks good throughout the day, then yeah, I'd consider trading it, but it doesn't typically trade a lot of volume, so I wouldn't be focused on it for the most part. Good morning, PB. Good morning, Lost One. Good morning, guys. So again, Roku heavily watching short. Not heavily, but with the way it's moving so far today, there's really no significant factor to determine if it's going to go down or go up. For me, it's just on standby, just watching, but I do like it now that it's kind of reached back up towards its all-time high mark for a potential pullback short situation. Once that happens and it pulls back and it holds, then we're going to start to actually form, right? We're going to have formation, which then can lead to a new breakout or a new breakdown. So once it pulls back, then we'll have a trend line or a wedge formation like that, where we'll probably get a breakup or a new breakdown, which will create more volatility into Roku. Alrighty. ACIA is a buyout. You don't want to watch that or trade that. Nothing's going to happen with that today. Yes. Netflix. Okay, so with Netflix, I haven't really talked. Netflix hasn't been on the watch list recently, and I haven't really been trading it because it's been pretty decreased on volume. People have been kind of stepping back from it just because it's basically hasn't done anything. It's just been sitting in the same range for quite a while, not creating as much volatility. The moves have been getting smaller, so I've been staying away. But anyways, they got some news today, blah, blah, blah. Something about Stranger Things 3 breaks records, blah, blah, blah. And people are buying into it. Netflix is starting to squeeze up. So with that news piece about season 3 of Stranger Things breaking Netflix records after just 4 days, blah, 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 it's worth watching to trade today because it went from 374 all the way to 379 pre-market. Still has good formation, has a beautiful curl starting here pre-market. I mean, the stock just looks good. It's already moved up to pretty much fill that gap. But anyways, if you look at the 4-hour chart, it's in this big old cup, kind of U formation. We went down, we bottomed out, we higher low, we're trending up. We touched over at previous highs once, we pulled back, we're squeezing back up towards it. So I think it's worth watching. I don't know if it's quite ready to break out into new highs yet or over these previous highs of about 385. It doesn't appear so, but it might. So it's worth watching, especially after the Stranger Things 3 news today. Okay. Finished. BYND. I haven't looked at BYND, or I had it up, but didn't really look at it. Yep, still not doing much. Still same thing. Yeah, if BYND rolls over and starts to actually break down, 152, it can get pretty ugly. So that's your significant point to stay above on BYND if you're trying to be long or don't want to get crushed. Alrighty. So 2 stocks, Roku, Netflix. AMD. I mean, AMD is not going to do a whole lot. It just doesn't have formation to really do much. It'll probably move, but I don't think. Well, actually, today could be the day it moves big. Now that I look at it, yeah, I'd probably be. I want to say I'd be more long bias on it. I probably would. I'd probably be more long bias AMD today. We've had a couple days of consolidation. This is kind of like a small little mini bull flag that it's in. If this would work. Yeah, it's in sort of a mini bull flag. So if this can start breaking up and over today, like 32, it could have a decent day. But again, that's all subject to whether or not the market has a good day. If the market doesn't do well, then AMD's not going to do well. It just is what it is. It is what it is with most of the big stocks. If the market doesn't do well, these stocks aren't going to do well. So I'm going to go with long bias on AMD and long biased Netflix today, unless the market starts by shooting down out of the gates and then going on a really bad red day. But we did start with the gap down, so there probably is going to be an attempt to fill the gap on the day in the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500, and maybe even the Russell. So yes, what am I getting at? I'm saying that I'd probably be long bias AMD unless the market goes absolutely terribly down. But even if the market starts with a red candle down, I still would be long bias until it trends down. Yes, I am back. I would bet against Roku. Okay. Can you give you some analysis on gold? Yeah, gold's basically the same place it's been for the past couple days. Nothing's really changed. It topped out, I think, at like 140-ish. I think we pulled back to around 130-ish. Yeah, there's really nothing too much more there. Yeah. Let's put on a daily chart. Yeah, I mean, gold broke out, hit a high of 130. Well, this one that I'm looking at, but it's pretty similar. But anyways, GLD hits a high of 133.55, starts to pulling back, has a really big gap to fill here. So if you're not already long on gold, or if you haven't been, or you're thinking about, you should probably buy some down here at about 127. Well, at least this is GLD. If you're looking at GLD, you should probably buy GLD at about 127 for a bounce. You can probably get it at 127. You'll get a couple points per share, probably at least $2 or $3. Possibly even a good long-term hold buy off of 127 here. I've been long gold since here. I've been long gold since this is 2018. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I've been long gold since back here and right in here. So I'm planning on holding for a long time anyways. But yeah, that 127 will be a good dip buy there on GLD when this gap gets filled. This move is most likely coming down all the way to 127. So gold will most likely see a decrease here in the next couple days, possibly. But yeah. Awesome. Oh, you wouldn't bet against Roku. Yeah, I wouldn't bet against Roku for a long-term short, but I would probably bet against them for a short-term pullback trade. Yes. But time will tell, because, again, the flow of stocks. You got to understand the flow of stocks. The likelihood that Roku just curls up and breaks through this high without pulling back, very, very, very unlikely. It's more likely that it pulls back and gives us some red, which is the short. So I would say next couple days, we'll see Roku pull back to at least 100, but probably into 97. We'll see a pullback down towards that area. I would imagine it would make sense, about 50% of that move. Yeah, we'll probably see a pullback around towards 97, I think. We'll see. I mean, it doesn't have to. It could blow all the way through previous highs, but it normally doesn't do that. So, again, the natural flow of the stock would be down, up, into sell zone, back down, formation into a potential wedge, break up into new highs. Let's see also. 4-hour charts. No. Max, no. If Roku's down, the market doesn't tend to have a good day. So again, what you're looking at is you're looking at a strong stock in divergence to the overall market. It's not when the market's down, Roku has a good day. It's just that there's been so much hype and so much momentum behind Roku that's able to have a divergence against the overall market. So for the past couple days, right, or at least yesterday's for one, yesterday the market was red. In the past couple 2 days, the market really didn't do a whole lot. But yeah, like yesterday, the market was down. Past couple days, it seems as we've been trending down, right? And Roku's been going up. That's because Roku was kind of on a bounce and on a squeeze, so it's kind of bucking the overall trend of the market. So yeah, you're right. It's been going up while it's been going down, but that's not what it would naturally do. It's natural flow. CTST gap down. CTST gap down. Yeah, I mean, I guess a gap down. I seen this one. I'm not going to trade it personally. There's not really all that much volume to it, so I'll probably just hold off on that. Yeah, there's nothing about that really makes me very interested in trading it. Low volume, doesn't move big values. NIO going over 4. Well, I'm not an NIO believer at this moment in time, but I think we saw there was... Oh, yeah, we even looked at this. We literally looked at this like a couple weeks back. We're like, yeah, that's probably a decent long play. Yeah, because there was a bullish divergence on this one, right? Yeah, there was a bullish divergence taking place on this. Breaking 4 today, no, not going to happen. Yeah, very, very, very unlikely NIO breaks 4 today. That would be from 347 to 47. What is average range? Yeah, very unlikely. GLDM, I honestly don't know. Probably just another ETF. You can look into it. Well, I understand now. World Gold Trust Mine minus ETF. Yeah, I don't know. It's just basically the same thing. It's going to have gold stocks, gold mining stocks, things like that. But yeah, it is actually fairly cheaper. It looks like it's only been on the market for a few years, not many years. So yeah, it hasn't been on the market very long. It is cheaper, but no volume as well. Hardly any volume there. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention CEI. Not that, well, because it's probably not something I should mention, but yeah, people are gonna follow what they want to follow anyways. Yeah, CEI, it's worth watching today. This is a reverse split right now. A bunch of people shorted this yesterday. It's starting to get some pump news today. The market makers are probably going to try and squeeze out the early short sellers on the stock at least once. So what you're seeing today is a short squeeze on CEI so far, at least this morning. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just a bounce, but if anything, the only thing you're getting out of this is a quick momentumous day trade and short squeeze on the day, if anything. But it is worth watching because that's what happens. The stock was worth 13 cents, went through a crazy reverse split. I mean, if it went from went from 13 cents to $3, doing a reverse split. At some point in time, the stock will be back down, probably worth about 13 cents a share, which the company will then do another reverse split so that way they can keep their stock on the big exchanges so they don't get delisted. But anyways, CEI, 13 cents, goes to reverse split, becomes $3. Everybody knows that it's only worth 13 cents, not truly worth $13. So a bunch of people are going to short the stock, anticipating that it's going to decrease in value, eventually one day probably going all the way back to 13 cents. But they're probably not going to hold all the way to 13 cents because it's going to be an extremely hard to borrow stock in order to short. So if they do short it, they're going to be paying very expensive overnight holding fees. So the likelihood that they hold it all the way down to 13 cents is not very likely. They're really just playing for just a few days of it to decrease, which would be yesterday going into today. But since today it's not going down, a lot of those short sellers are starting to get squeezed up. So you're probably seeing a short squeeze on CEI. So with all that rambling, worth watching long today. Yeah, see that. I mean, that's what naturally happens, Mike. You know, as soon as something starts to move pretty well, everybody catches wind of it and everybody talks about it. So yeah, gold. It's been on a lot of people's mind, and I'm not here to say I'm a genius or anybody's a genius or Peter Schiff's a genius, but I mean, yeah, I've been buying gold for past year and a half, anticipating a move like this to happen, and it's happening, but. And then I literally made a video on gold like 3 days before it started breaking out pretty big. And I was like, and it was really just because it was time to start watching gold, and I hadn't made a video about it in a while. But yeah, now it's a little bit late. Now it's kind of late. It's not time to buy gold for the macro move, right? It's time to hold off and let it do its thing, and then it's time to buy again. But we'll see. You know, a lot of people are split between cryptocurrency and gold these days, and it is funny. It is funny because a lot of people go, "Oh, you shouldn't buy gold; you should buy cryptocurrency." It's like, well, possibly, but have you ever seen cryptocurrency perform? You haven't. What we have seen is we have seen precious metals time and time again perform very well in bad times. So until they prove themselves to not do so, then at that point it would be time to look for alternative solutions. Thoughts on BABA? Let's see. Been going down recently. Market just took a turn. I mean, it's just on a down move. If anything, I don't want to say if anything, I'd probably be short bias. The chart on this looks like absolute shit, though. Hold on. That ain't good. Give me a second. Well, BABA just came off a top, starting to pull back. I mean, you're more likely than not going to be on a down day. Well, not necessarily. This is a low point. Yeah, I'd probably watch BABA long bias in this zone. Just started to enter into a buy zone, so properties to light green. Yeah, it'd probably it's too green. Properties. Yeah, I'd probably watch BABA around this level. You know, 166 to 164, 163 for potential dip buy long. If it goes through this whole zone without bouncing, then you'd be a little iffy, but probably got a little bit of a bounce coming. Again, very market dependent. If the market has an absolutely terrible day, then, well, so will BABA. Can I share my pre-market scanner? There's one on YouTube for Thinkorswim, if that's the one you're asking about. If you're looking at the one for trade ideas, then enter our chat room. We have a link and things like that you can get. So yeah, if you're looking to get the scanner I use from Trade Ideas, just go to some of the links in the description. It will take you to our chat room. Then from our chat room, just send me a direct message. Apple AAPL. Oh, by the way, some of you may not know, but we did a 4th of July sale where everything on our site was 50% off. And if you enrolled into any of the chat rooms or monthly or yearly subscriptions to any of our services, you'd end up getting it 50% off for the entirety that you're signed up with us. So it's not like just 50% off the first month. No, you stay 50% off for life as long as you're enrolled with us. So, since it was over the week and I was gone camping, I didn't get to kind of get the word out to anybody on YouTube. So again, you guys can still use the coupon code. It's July 50, and I'll put that in the chat room real fast. July 50. I'll say it a couple times. So again, you can still use it. The coupon's still valid, but we'll be turning it off in a couple days. So if you want, check out our website. One of the first or second links in the description of the video. Follow it. You can join us. 50% off anything you want. All right. Just had to get that off there and out. So let's see. 8:53. A couple more minutes here. Apple's been having somewhat of a sell-off for the past day or so, but let's see. Solid bounce back. Fills gap. Yeah, I mean, for this, it's basically Apple over 200. It can pop. If Apple stays below 200, it can stay into a short. That's basically the way I go about that on the intraday time frame. Yeah, I'll send you guys the link here. Give me a second. Dan, the coupon is for new enrollments only. Possibly iPhone X's worst selling phone. I don't trade, or I don't buy iPhones. I'm not an iPhone user, so it's hard for me to always keep up on it, but you can basically use any platform to trade in the penny stock market. Use Thinkorswim. You could use E-Trade, IB, Lightspeed, Ninja Trader, Speed Trader, Sure Trader, TradeNet, Quest Trade. Am I missing something? Speed Trader, Lightspeed, IB, any of those. Basically anything. Just until about 11, Brandon trades in the elites room. See, a lot of times everybody always asks us, do we trade all day? And I really don't like that because that just tells me that people want to stay around trading, or they would like that there be someone there trading longer. But that's not how you're supposed to do this job. That's not the way you want to do this, right? You want to come in about 1 hour, 1.5 or 2 hours, trade and be done and go enjoy your day versus stick around and watch the market all day long, right? Because sticking around and watching the market all day long usually leads to over trading or bad trading and losing money. And that's exactly what we don't want to instill in traders that are with us. We want them to understand the objective is do your analysis in the morning, couple hours before market open. And then once the market opens, you trade for about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, make your money, and then take off. I traded I trade small cap stocks. I just became more experienced, more knowledgeable. So I like small caps, but I only trade small caps when they're good to trade. So if they're not on my watch list, they're probably not good to trade. Or I just wasn't watching them. But you tell me what small caps have really been good to trade over the past couple days, couple weeks. There's been nothing. Nothing's been around. Nothing really, really good. And that's just because we're also in the summer season. Things are going to slow down. It's not going to be as busy for penny stocks. It's not going to be just in general, right? It just won't happen. And let's see. But yeah, so that's just basically it. Solely short bias. Yeah, I'd probably be more short bias than solely than long bias. But yeah, I used to trade more penny stocks, and I realized you'd go through these spurts and these seasons where it's just they're absolute shit and they're slow and they're not worth trading. And then I'm like, well, I need to do something else. So I started trading large caps during those time periods, and I realized large cap is always good to trade, and small cap is not always good to trade. So then I learned I might as well just always trade large cap until there is a decent or penny stock that's worthy to trade. And when you start doing that, then you start skipping over all the penny stocks that aren't worthy of trading, and then you stop trading bad penny stocks and bad setups. And then you only focus on penny stocks when they're good. And when you're only focusing on them when they're good or being super selective, you find yourself trading penny stocks when they're going from 2 to 8, 2 to 10. And you're not trading the ones that go from $1.20 to $1.60 on the day, because those are pointless to trade. And then you have to apply the coupon code at checkout when you join us. All right, guys, so it's about 9 o'clock. I got to get back. This is the time where I get back onto our private room and kind of run some things over and get ready for the day. So with that being said, guys, I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for another trading day. Hopefully you guys are green on the day. Try and keep it green. If you end up red, try calling it. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Take care.